Now Moxies on bated breath, and Moxies will get the win in PWCQ number 37. He's back in rare form. Moxies gets the W. Shout out to Moxinator. What is up, Go World? It's me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another Go Format video. This previous weekend, past Saturday, we had PWCQ number 37, and it was a spectacular event, as they always often are. But in the building today, I have another special treat. There are always going to be special treats. I have five-time PWCQ winner and two-time FLC champion, my good friend. You guys all know who it is. Make some noise. Round of applause for the homie Moxies back in the building again. First place, how does it feel, Moxies, to be back again? I'm sure you won enough. This is your five-time PWCQ victory. You found your way back to the winner's circle. You're having an incredible dueling season. How have you been? How are you doing? How's life with Moxies?
It's been good. You know, this year in 2023 slash 2020, the end of 2022, I've kind of slowed down my tournament play. I played a lot during 2021 and a lot during 2022. But I kind of focused a bit more on just War League and majors. This is actually only the second premium Patreon that I've played this season, just so I can focus more on other things. But it's been good. Yeah, it's nice to get back in there, especially since I was chilling for a bit, but then Lucas won, and then he got ahead of me in wins.
Oh,
so,
okay. So
I had to get him back.
There's an internal conflict between you and
That's
Lucas.
My duo. You can't be ahead of me though.
You can't win. But you had a good showing at Clash. You had a good showing in some other majors, and now you're back in the winner's circle, man. And I love to see it. It's good to see you back in the winner's circle. But what we're gonna do today, and like we did last time, you go back and see what LaBounty did for Clash of Champions. I got another champion in the building. You guys already know who it is and what he's all about. But we're gonna go through some spice. We got some spice for you guys. The top 8 decks from the last event. I got the champion in the building. We're gonna go through those together, and then we're gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you what I think, and he's gonna tell you what he thinks. And then once we get to his deck, he'll break it down, how he put it together, why he put it together, and we're gonna do it just like that. You ready to do this, Moxies?
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Let's get after it. All right. Here are the top 8 decks in PWCQ number 37. As I stated before, I believe we had 45 duelists show up to this event, and it was a smooth event all the way from beginning to end. And shout out to everyone who had anything to do with that from behind the scenes. But we're going to hop right on into it. Coming on in at number 8. Number 8, we have Rabbit representing Team Safari Zone back on the Warrior strategist. Duelist has topped a few times already this season, and he seems to be very consistent with these interesting ratios in this Warrior deck. Moxies, you're a long time. You've done a lot to this Warrior strategy. You're a long time Warrior player. What do you think about Rabbit? And what do you think about Rabbit's take on this Warrior deck? Triple dust shoot, double zing, 1 jog in the main deck. No dust.
No dust. Be honest with you. Well, first off, let's get the good part out of the way. I'm a big 3 shoot, 2 shoot. Like, you got to have shoot in your deck because at least in game 1, it covers basically every matchup, and it's really hard for your opponents to actively play against without putting themselves in an awkward spot. So at least for game 1, higher dust shoots is really good. The 1 jog, I mean, I understand it does work with Zing a bit because you can chain it to the Zing when you do that, but you can also do that with a Dust Tornado if they had three back row and target your Dust Tornado, chain the Dust Tornado on the 3rd one. I do think overall I'd probably just, if I'm going to play just 1 plus draw card, it would just be the Dust Tornado. But Double Zing, I love that card. That card is one of my favorite cards in this format. It's one of the few cards that Warriors can play that can just be quote-unquote unfair, which, Warrior overall is a pretty standard fair deck. Like, it plays its trap cards, and then it plays its, 1 normal summon unless you have a Revival or BLS. So sometimes it can stall out. So it doesn't have, like, Moth Loops and, like, OP charities with NAs and stuff. Zing lets you just take out 2 cards and just push the aggro. So I personally love Zing, 2 Zing. I've done the 2 Zing, 3 Zing before. That card's just so good.
Hey, it's amazing. Hey, anyway, all right. In the side, he's keeping 3 spies. He's got the Mobius in there, the Zaborg. I see a lot of Warrior players not a lot, but I see Warrior players doing that, still respecting the control with the Book of Moons in there. And now you got some Dust Tornadoes, BrainCon, and another Sakuretsu. Just 1 Sakuretsu on the side. I think that's also pretty neat. I think it's a solid deck. But maybe take some notes for what Moxie's saying about the Zing and the Dust Tornado situation. Again, huge shout out to Rabbit He's topped this thing several times. Just a matter of time for
War League winner.
War League champ. He's a champion in the building in his own right. Just a matter of time before Rabbit go ahead and secures this thing. And what a crazy top 8 for this event. There wasn't a lot of turbo, but I guess Goat Trinity is going to be technically the only turbo deck to top this entire event. So Goat Trinity coming in that 7th place, playing what is a Chaos turbo deck, but he does have like a conversion side as well. With the trap lineup, he's going to go with the 2 Solemns, 2 Trap Does Shoot, 2 Wing Blast main deck, Mind Control. Everything else seems pretty standard. The side kind of goes off the rails a little bit. Mox, I'm gonna bounce pass this over to you again. What do you think about what Goat Trinity is doing here at this 7th place finish with this Chaos Turbo control smoke type deck?
Well, it definitely looks like he was prepared for turbo, like more turbo decks. That seems to be the new norm now, and not just. I remember before it was like in War League, what would happen is when you hit playoffs or hit certain weeks, you would just be adding a Minecon to your main deck just because there's a high chance of a known turbo player. But now we're starting to see that in the actual tournaments too, because players are just like, you know what, even if I run into a different type of deck, I just don't even care. I'm tired of playing 80% of my games against turbo. I want to be more prepared for it. So a lot of people are adding the Minecon to their deck, switching back to Phoenix Windblast because it's slightly better in the main deck than Regeki Bake against turbo. And then he looks like he just added a small amount of cards to switch over for if he plays against aggro decks. The monster lineup's pretty standard. Yeah, I mean the list is pretty standard overall. The 2 Psalms is a little bit, I wouldn't say outdated, but like not in its turn, because you know how every cards just take turns. Like the Solemn ratios just take turns. So right now we're not in the 2 Solemn era. Other than that, it looks fine. Probably the most peculiar thing is the Wombats in the side, to be honest.
I think Wombat's time has passed. I think there could be better cards you can throw in that side deck to kind of clean it up. But again, overall, it's a solid deck. I'm sure you can get some dubs with this deck, and Goat Trinity was able to do that. Congratulations to you as well, Goat Trinity, for your 7th place finish. We hope to see you continue on. We'll see. We'll see what you can do. Maybe you can continue to make it on. All right. Moving on. We got the world champion in the building. We got the GOAT format world champion from 2021, winning on Panda Burn, but now he's on Reasoning Gate now. He's been playing his deck pretty consistently all season, kind of making ever so slight tweaks and changes to it. Hasn't necessarily got over that threshold to get the dub, but he's made several. He's made it quite far in several tournaments so far this season. We got Delinquent, and he's playing RGT. This one's kind of. I think he's been building them for more of the OTK variety. He's got the Lightning Vortex in there, triple Giant Grenade. He's on Jargaree for maximum consistency, and he's got that Cannon Soldier. I think Cannon Soldier is the way for this deck and how it has to be played. I think because some of the moves I've seen him make, and Cannon Soldier is a huge part of that. Big Dimension Fusion play, blow up the field, Cannon Soldier. What do you think about Delinquent? What do you think about the World Champ? What do you think about RGT in general and the way that this Duelist has constructed this deck, Moxie?
I like RGT. I'm not sure it's like. The problem is it can just be extremely inconsistent, and we're in an era where, you know, you got to be quick, you got to get stuff getting done between turbos and warriors. You know, plays are getting made quickly. You got to be able to keep up with that. So Reasoning Gate can, in a lot of cases, it can do all that very quickly too. But in other cases, it just does nothing for multiple turns, which can be a really big hamper. It does look like he's trying to. He added the Scapegoats, no meta, not even in the side, so just there for fodder, and for blockers. Yeah, it just looks pretty roughly standard to me. Toon Cannon is definitely the way, because what ends up happening is you have the potential to blow up the field and go for a lot of damage, but it isn't necessarily the full OTK, and the Cannon Soldier can be your finisher on that. So he also enables defuse and demock and, you know, more chaos and stuff like that, just because he can instantly put cards in the graveyard or put, you know, add demock summons, you know, adds back a card, then you can get rid of it, add back another card, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. So I think it's definitely the better version. Though to be honest with you, I'm surprised he didn't go back to burn this event, just because we're kind of hitting the era right now where most people are off the walks, all the burn, other than maybe a Mobius here and there. It's mostly just dust and Mobius. There's no, like, people aren't like fully thinking. They're not really thinking about burn as much anymore. So I wonder if that is gonna impact him in these next tournaments where he might go back to it. Possibly. But other than that, it's Delinquent. That's the world champion. We love that guy. He's one of the nicest guys in the format, and he keeps the format not stale.
You brought some great points about RGT as a deck. I mean, if Delinquent, who is a very, very talented, prolific duelist, can't seem to get over that hump and get over that threshold in this online game playing this strategy, then it might, it goes to say like, hey, maybe there are some glaring weaknesses with this deck, or something that is not as openly apparent with recent engage strategy. So, but yeah, I think it's a solid deck. But again, also a solid player. He is a world champion for a reason. All right. Moving on to number 5. Number 5, we have a duelist that goes by the name of Dolly, or Dally. I'm not sure. Dally, maybe like Sally, or Dolly, maybe like Dolly. I'm not sure, but he's also on the Warrior strategy, coming in at 5th place, playing again, like you said, keeping that pre-train rolling. Double Minecon in the main deck, triple Kaiku, double Book is what we're going to go to, with no Trap Dutch Shoot. Just like you alluded to earlier, this duelist said, you know what, I'm not going to play Trap Dutch Shoot at all. Moxies, you're a Warrior player. You've won a lot with Warriors. Tell me about this configuration of the Warrior strategy, and what do you think about it?
Well, I like the Minecon. In the main deck. 2's a little overkill for me. I think 1's kind of the perfect limit. I don't like the double Book of Moon, though in general for this specific event, it was probably extremely good that he did have it, because there was a larger turnout, at least at the higher tables. There was a lot of control this event, so the double Book of Moon I'm sure worked out for him great. But in general, I'm not sure Book of Moon is really that good in Warriors, and if it is, just a one of. But yeah, the double Minecon is a lot, but it does what it does good, and it does work with the sideboard, right? Because one of the main things about Minecon that sucks in Warriors is that post board, you want to just Minecon as much as you can, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is you Minecon, you hit a spy, you flip spy, but you don't get anything out of it, and then you just give it back to them, and then now you just win neg card, and they have a spy that they can hold you in defense. So what ends up happening is now you can Minecon, and if you sided in your own spy, now you can at least get your own spy out of it. So it's not the worst card ever. Other than that, it looks pretty standard for Warriors, minus the no shoot. The sideboard is a little interesting. Jinzo is pretty cool. It kind of works a little bit better with his deck, because he is playing a little bit less of traps, so that's kind of cool. And Morphing Jar, can be a crazy card in Warriors when it goes unexpected.
Yeah,
it could be quite powerful.
Especially in that game 2 and beyond, when you know that there are probably no knocks, no Minecons coming your way. You set your whole hand, you set a Morphing Jar, the opponent's probably gonna think it's DD Warrior Lady or Don's Alug maybe, or even a Spy.
Yes.
And then now you just plus Omega with this freaking Morphing Jar. So I think that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat inclusion. Bottomless, I've had some.
Bottomless is an interesting.
I've had some bad experiences with Bottom Trap Hole in my own personal dueling career. I don't like Bottom Trap Hole too much, but it does work. I mean, the mirror too. Everyone's summoning all your stuff's over 15, most of it anyway, and a timely Bottomless can absolutely get you there. I don't know. Yep. What do you think about Bottomless, Moxies?
Not my personal favorite.
Okay.
If you were like going full on hate of Warriors, like you wanted your side deck to be like 9+ cards of Warriors, I could see, you having 3 Saku, 3 widespread, more Bottomless, and just saying, you know what, your monsters are gonna die at all times, right? But if you're choosing Bottomless over a widespread or Swords, I think Swords of Revealing Light is just a better card than Bottomless. Yeah, that's Magic Cylinder, I'd even choose that over Bottomless. Other than that, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it in this format.
Okay. But again, I don't know much about Dolly. Shout out to you. I hope you keep playing. Yes. I want to see you come on back in.
Shout out to you and Calvin and I think Thugger. You guys are all friends with each other.
Okay.
Thank you for coming to play. It's always a pleasure to see, guys who play multi-formats come and play.
Right on. All right, and number 4, oh my goodness, number 4, we got to talk about the POTY again. This duelist has got another top and another PWCQ playing this Chaos Control deck, and again, AJTBLS took the JDZ challenge. He came to me the night before the event. It was like, JDZ, give me a deck, whatever it is, I'll play it. I want to make sure this duelist has a chance to win, or at least a chance to compete, but I want to try some theories and ideas that I'm just not good enough to execute in my own right. So I saw Juve89 Ryan played in the War League Invitational, and he was using a deck very similar to this one. And I was like, AJT probably can cook with this, and I think it's some interesting concepts that Juve has prepared. So I kind of just went on with that, and that's what we went on here. So it's pretty much a standard Chaos Turbo deck in the main deck as far as monsters, but in the side, or excuse me, but in the Spell Trap lineup, I just like to go with max Metamorphosis, max Scapegoats, max Wing Blast, just for, you still can do your turbo thing, but then once it kind of turbos out in the mirrors, kind of built for the mirrors, also built to play warriors, you can kind of extend it out and continue on with your extra deck shenanigans if it gets to that point. So some feedback I got from AJT is like, hey, Breaker's too good. You can't cut Breaker. Breaker has to be in the main deck. So I would try to consider that. I just didn't want to, every time I felt I draw Breaker in the beginning in turbo in that mirror, Breaker's just getting worse and worse and worse to me because he can't clear Spy, and he's always getting chained on against. So that's why I thought that he was better in the side. So Mox, tell me what you think about this deck. This is what my thoughts were when I gave it to AJT, and tell me what your thoughts are looking at this deck.
I mean, it is a pretty standard turbo list, though I guess you would just cut one deco for the Breaker in the main. Other than that, the turbo lineup is 3 meta, 3 Scapegoat, though. I feel like that might be overkill. I think 2/2 is fine in the main deck, because like realistically, you're kind of using them as the second part of your engine, not like trying to compete with the first part of the engine. Like, you want the main part of the deck to be the turbo part, and then you want to have extra plays available to you if either you're behind in cards or you can make a good Metamorphosis target or whatever, because sometimes you got cards like Thunder Dragon in your hand where the game state kind of devolves to where your opponent has Thunder Dragons and you have Thunder Dragons, and you have a chance to make a Balter or whatever, and you can start putting in work. Things like that are pretty good. Other than that, the rest looks good. Phoenix Wind Blast, great card. Double Upstart, which if you're going to go 3 meta, 3 Scapegoat, I can definitely see 2 Upstart, because the problem with those cards is over an extended period of time in a tournament, you'll get bunches where you'll get multiple meta and no level 1s, or you get multiple Scapegoats and nothing to do with them. So an Upstart can help with that.
That's why we got the card D in there. That's why we got the 3 face in there. So in the event that if you have metas or disjointed Scapegoats, you can just card D all that crap to the bin, and then hopefully you get better cards that you can continue on to clap with.
Other than that, list looks pretty smooth to me.
And it's ironic. The reason I wanted AJT to play this deck is because no one has been playing Scapegoats throughout this whole time. Like, the Scapegoats just fell the hell off the whole metagame. And then sure enough, this event comes and I got this Duelist playing some Scapegoats. I convinced the POTY to play some Scapegoats, and now everybody's playing free Scapegoats, which is insane. I don't understand how that whole crap works out. But again, AJT, I'm pretty sure, can just win with anything, man. This Duelist can absolutely get after it. He's among the very best duelists that we have in the game, so shout out to him. And maybe I'll up the titration on the spice next time and see if this duelist can continue to do that. All right.
Canada's best, right there.
Oh yeah, he's Canada in the house. Canada representing. All right, moving on. We are at number 3. Number 3, we have Nova Ethos coming on in with a 3rd place finish, playing the zombie deck, taking the mantle from Alephia and continuing on with the zombie strategy, but he's doing his own unique way. 3 Pyramid Turtles, 2 Koki, triple regenerating mommy Moxies. Telling about the zombie strategy. He's got a lot of traps in this deck. The zombie deck players typically don't play that many traps, but he's playing a ton of traps, and it kind of worked out for him in this event. Tell me about this player and tell me about this zombie strategy. What do you think about it? What you like about it? What you hate about it? And all that.
Well, first things first, I want to congratulate Nova on getting to 3rd, because he's one of those players, that plays, does his thing. He's been playing War League a lot. Sometimes him and his team, without sounding mean, didn't have the best time. And, sometimes people can get disheartened from losing a lot, and it makes them not want to play and they quit the format. But he's been, working at it, trying to get results, still playing. He's not disheartened from losing, and now it's showing up. And I love it, because I love seeing people who are putting time in and want to get better and fighting through the losses and are now getting the results. So good for him. I'm really impressed with that. On the flip side, I'm not a very good zombie player. I don't have the most knowledge. This list, I don't have what's the right word here? I don't have the balls to play a list like this. Every time I see a list for myself come up that I've made, and I go, you know what? Maybe this could be good if I just play it.
Yeah.
And I never can commit to it. So I'm happy that he did. I'm not the most knowledgeable on ratios, but anything that has zing in it is automatically going to get a plus up for me. So
Right on.
it's pretty good.
I love, like you said earlier, man. I love Nova Ethos. He's definitely one of my favorite duels in the game because he's committed to the spice. He's committed to being off meta. There is a lot of people. I mean, if you want to win, if you want to be number one, you got to play the meta. You got to be kind of a shield sometimes. You got to play the best decks and the best ratios and the best cards. But sometimes it takes special duelists to go out and say, hey, this is going to be off meta. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to be the rogue. I'm going to be the rapscallion. I'm going to be the underdog and go in there and still make results. Those people have a special place in my heart. So Nova is definitely fitting that bill and getting after it. I love to see them having some results for all the hard work and effort that they put into this game. So shout out to them. And hopefully they keep
Shout
rocking.
out.
And I would love
Good
to
job.
see Nova get a qualification. Everybody on the stream was all lit when Nova was playing, and everyone was sending them all their energy and love. No offense to you, Moxies, at all.
No,
Nobody loves you.
go.
But everyone was in Nova and wanted him to pull it off. So hopefully he continues to do that. All right, and now we're going on to top two. We have Calvin Tejan, a.k.a. Bend the Knee. And this duelist is very prolific in the current game right now, finding their way back into the GOAT format scene, doing their thing, getting a second place finish, playing another warrior deck. So we got warrior, one turbo, and rest control. It's pretty interesting to see. But Calvin Tejan playing his own warrior deck again with the double mind con in the main deck. You got oh my goodness, tell me I gotta bounce past. No dust shoot again. No dust shoot again. One Saku, one widespread. Moxies, you're the warrior expert. Tell me about this warrior deck. We've seen several warrior decks so far in the top 8. They all been kind of different in their own regard. 13 monsters. Tell me about this one.
I mean, this is just the Calvin list. He's played, over the years here and there, win pretty hard on the ladder one time, and he's known to kind of play a little bit different types of choices. Again, another person who went double Minecon. I don't really have any issues with that. He's got the Spy side deck. It's a good time for that Book of Moon. Then he's going with the only really surprising to me, well, 2 upstarts, but that's why you're gonna have a little bit less monster count. I will give him props here though, because he went with 2 Blade Knight and 3 Kaiku, and I've had debates with other warrior players before on if you're gonna go upstart jog and you're gonna cut a monster to help consistency overall, which one you cut, the Blade Knight or the Kaiku. I'm personally a Blade Knight cutter, and some of the other warrior players are a Kaiko cutter. So it's just nice to see that someone is a Blade Knight cutter.
Right.
So I like that. The 1 Saku, 1 widespread, I understand the mentality of that. He's trying to keep people off balance when they watch replays, when they see his game. They're not sure how many of each ratio he has. Could he have 1? Could he have 2? Multiples? Whatever. It's a fine strategy. It's a slightly overrated, but it's fine, because at the end of the day, you see battle traps in general. You're going to play assuming that there's potentially a battle trap set. So I don't think it's the biggest difference. Now the side is the most interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, because he doesn't play as many tournaments. He doesn't. I'm not going to speak for him, but from my opinion, I don't look in the side deck. It doesn't look like he stares at lists, see where the meta trends are, and from seeing his past tournament decks and what he's played, he has a similar style of siding. And it just so happened to be a great event to have that many control outs, 3 compulse. I personally think compulse is in a great spot right now, because if you do play control, they've been going away from decree and doing normal trap lineups or battle traps or whatever is their side deck. So compulse just goes so hard right now. It's good against anti-meta. It's good against it's so good against control. It's better than Book of Moon, because you can put the Thousand Eyes Restrict back in the deck, which can be a huge dark target for them. And it just gets rid of the threat, because what happens?
It's chainable too. Sometimes you can save your own guy too. Yeah.
Protect yourself from creature swap, stuff like that. It's just a really good card. It just fell out of favor, because I remember when I first started playing in 2021, people were I played Compulse in my FLC winning deck because Decree wasn't the main card yet, and it became the main card shortly after that. Everyone was on Decree, so it kind of just fell out of favor. But I think it's great right now. And then the Morphing Jar. I got a funny story with the Morphing Jar. Okay, so he actually gets a wild hit on me. So in our first set, he wins game 1. Game 2, I open TD Graceful Charity. I'm doing great. I'm grinding him out. I'm up a bunch of cards on him, and he sets a monster. I just assume is probably a Don's Lug or a Lady or whatever. And then I on my turn, I Dust Tornado one of his back row, and it's an upstart Goblin. and it doesn't even. This is how much I don't even play against Morphine Jar anymore, because like
Didn't even
if I
register.
thought about it for more than 5 seconds, that would just register big like red flags. Like, hey, like most people don't just set Upstart. Like maybe if it was your only back row card
Yeah.
and you wanted to have it as a bluff, okay, like you can maybe think about that, but in general, if you already have 3 back row cards and you're setting an Upstart Goblin, it's because something wild is going on, right? So it didn't even cross my mind because I just haven't seen Morphing Jar played in a long time. So I just hit this Dust Tornado and I'm just like, oh well, that's interesting, but it's Calvin, so whatever. So I attack, and then he hits me with the jar, and I'm like, oh man, this game isn't going good. How did I not see that?
Yeah, I remember.
And then I ended up losing that game.
I remember seeing that in the booth, man. I remember seeing that on the stream. That blew my whole mind too. It kind of blew me wide open. I was like,
so mad because when the second I hit Morphine Jar, it instantly clicked in my mind how obvious it was after I just tornadoed the Upstart, and I'm just like, man, come on. And then he ends up grinding out the win and wins. Luckily, I just busted in the second set, so I was able to win. But I was pretty ticked off when I got hit with that. Good for him though. The deck, it's fun to see him play. He's a funny guy to chat with. I always have a good time talking to that guy.
I like good energy. He's got some positive.
He's hilarious.
He's got some good energy, man. I like that. That confidence and the borderline cocky confidence kind of thing. I like that about these duels. We're good. If you're good, you let people know you're good. And he's got the Chiron the Mage in the side deck as well too. That's pretty hilarious, man. That's pretty funny.
Good for him. I know he's played a bunch of other tournaments and the results have not gone his way.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see him on the board.
Nice. Right on. All right, so that's Calvin Tejan, aka Bend the Knee on Dueling Book. Shout out to you for second place finish. But of course, we got our illustrious guest coming in at first place, playing this Chaos Control type deck. I know you've been working on this deck for a long time and finally able to unleash that onto this tournament scene, and it showed out. It showed up and showed out. It's kind of like a. I mean, I made it. I'm telling you, I think this deck was well situated to have a good showing in this tournament. But I'll throw it to you. Tell me about this deck. Tell me why you put it together this way, and tell me some of the strengths and weaknesses you had. Anything you replaced about this deck.
Well, so it's not so much difference. So I've played this deck multiple times before. I got fourth with it last year in one of the last tournaments, the Go Grinder Invitational. It was pretty similar to this list is. I didn't really change too much about it. I just took out the Trap Dust Shoot from the main and I put in a third discard trap. Other than that, it's basically the same lineup I've been using for a while. It's based off of so back in 2018, before Chaos Turbo really became its own thing. Back in 2018, you had like the hybrid was very popular, which was you were still playing all these turbo like cards with Night Assailant and stuff, but you also had the metas and scapegoats. So this list is based off of Lucas, who back in 2018 he used to dominate. I don't remember what I took out. I think it was a second Minecon, and I put in the Mystic Walk just because I kind of thought that the tournaments are going to start leaning towards burn again. They didn't this tournament, but I do assume in the future people might try going back to burn just doom. So I was like, oh, you know what? Just to be safe, I'm gonna put a walk in this tournament. But I didn't play any of that. I basically played Warriors. I played 8 games, I think, and I played Warriors 6 of them, and then I played AJ, and then I played Go Trinity, who are on the other decks. But I basically only played Warriors, which was great for me because my deck handles Warriors extremely well.
Okay. We saw you in the Calvin Tejan match, and he did reset that bracket, and he was able to push to the next round. But he had a lot of cards for this deck, and it just wasn't enough. I don't think it was ever going to be enough, just based on the way the two decks are constructed. You had way too many cards for what he was trying to do. And
that's where the turbo part helps, right? Because like a lot of the times he had answers for my 1000 as a strict, but he couldn't get past the spy, or I would summon an extra chaos card and I would be pushing damage and stuff like that. So I also played a lot of battle traps. So the battle traps are nice because it clears any monster that he has, because he's got a low monster count too. So taking away his monsters is pretty important. But yeah, other than that, it was a fun finals. I actually got a little nervous there for a sec when after that morphing char, and then I lose, and then we're resetting. I'm just like, no way, I'm gonna get roasted so bad if I lose back to back to Calvin after beating him in winners finals. But I got really good cards in the second set. So
right on. And again, Moxies, congratulations to you, man. congratulations to Moxies. You know what I'm saying? Make sure, if you're watching this video, tell us what you think. Moxie had a lot of interesting things to say about all these decks. He's got a super good brain for Yu-Gi-Oh! He's got a lot of knowledge on this format, so make sure you guys are reaching out to Moxies and picking his brain and getting more information in the comment section. I'm sure he's going to be down there reading them all, you know, as we are going through. But Moxie, before we wrap this thing up, I got to know what's next for Moxies. What is on the Moxies schedule in terms of GOAT format or in Yu-Gi-Oh? What's on your agenda for the rest of this dueling season?
Well, it's funny because I've played 2 back-to-back decks now that are considered standard. I went with my hybrid list here, and then at Clash where I got 3rd, I was using my Warrior into Turbo Smokescreen, which was incredible. That deck, by the way, is such a pain for people to deal with who are on Turbo, because they just have no idea how they want to side, and they have to guess, versus I don't have to guess, I can always choose. So that deck's really fun to play. Other than that, we have the GOAT League just announced their registrations for teams, so if anyone here got a bunch of buddies and you want to play into a league, we're going to start that here soon. Edison just started there also. If you're into Edison format, they just started their War League, so I'm in both with the same team, so I'm going to be playing in both, so that's going to keep me a bit busy. And then I think we have a huge GFC coming up here in a couple weeks, or early next month. So that's going to be ginormous. We hope we get 200 plus players there, and other than that, I'm super excited that I got my invite, because getting trolled a bit by some people that I haven't got my invite yet, when realistically I'd only played a handful of tournaments this year. So I'm happy I just got the Patreon win out of the way, and now I can just settle in and do my thing. I'm not overly worried about a Worlds buy this year, because it's not worked out for me both times now, so I'm not going to care so much about that this time.
All right, just getting in. I mean, you're already in, the weight's off your shoulders, so now, you know what I'm saying, now all the wins going to keep coming. I bet Moxies, man. I'll be looking forward to seeing it, man. We got to do something else. We got to do more stuff. I like to see Moxies coming on by the program every now and then. You got a wealth of knowledge. I need to go ahead and take some of that wealth of knowledge, something like that. I don't know. But any shout outs you want to give Mox before we wrap this bad boy up and shut it on down?
Shout out to all my Rampage teammates, because we don't talk about anything other than I talk to Labounty and Ivan Rizito a lot. The 3 of us talk a lot, but in general our team is very keep it to our chest type of thing. So it's just kind of funny, because we're not like game planning with each other and doing all this stuff. We kind of just do our own thing and just go in, and I think we've now won, at least from North America, because Juve just won the Milan earlier today or last night, and he's from Italy. So non-North American events, we've won all of them in a row here, back to back, which is hilarious.
Freaking Rampage.
So that's cool. Yeah, Rampage is hilarious.
Somebody got to stop Rampage, man. We got to figure something out.
Then shout out to you, because you help keep this format alive. Because honestly, without your personality, this place would fall apart. I'm not gonna lie. We needed someone to come in and take over the YouTube, take over the commentator that just has so much energy and lovability, which you have in abundance. So that's really helped keep the format. And then one last thing is, if anyone, there's a GGP that just got announced for Chicago in late July. I will be attending that one. If anyone wants to meet up with me and say hello and play some games, play the event, I'm going to be at that one specifically. I love the town of Chicago, and I need to hit at least one GGP this year, so I'm gonna go to that one.
GGP, what was the date again for that? I know you know.
That's late July. It's July 29th or 27th, something like that. Whatever weekend it closes those dates.
All right, so hey, as always, you know what I'm saying, make sure you guys get into those Discords, man. Get into the Discord, get into goatformat.com Discord, check all that stuff out, events tab, all the information is there. Go to the website, check it out, all the information is there. However you want to do it, there's goats out there to be played. You just got to go play it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can be in the winner's circle next to Moxies, punching your name to go to the GOAT Format World Championship taking place in October. But, champ, that's anything else you want to say before we wrap this thing up and shut it on down, man? You absolutely got after it and killed it. I really appreciate this.
Not much. Just keep grinding, keep playing, stay GOAT, stay control.
Stay control. All right, Moxies, brother. Thank you so much. Peace. All right, that was Moxies, PWCQ 37 winner, 2-time FLC champion, 5-time PWCQ victor in the building. What do you think about it? Tell me what you think about the Duelist has to say. I know this video is a little bit longer than they usually are, but Moxies had a lot of stuff to say, and it was all high impact, high informational stuff for all the newer players if you're coming to this Go Format scene. If you want to play in these PWCQs, make sure you swing by the goatformat.com Discord, join up, and you can play. As Moxies mentioned, there is GSC number 20 taking place June the 10th. Make sure you guys are being there for that. We're going to be in Austin GGP June the 3rd. Make sure you guys are all out there for that, as well as New York is coming up, and as well as Chicago. Man, there's so much Go activity taking place in the next couple of weeks and months. Make sure you guys are all in attendance for as much or as little as you like to do that. Okay, but that's all I got. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, get into the comment section. I'm JDZ. I play Ghosts. Until the next time, shout out to the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace.
This program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.